I traveled to Jamaica during you know what. Today is October 11th, 2020, and I actually flew to Jamaica on August 16th, 2020. Now I'm sure you're wondering, what's the holdup? Why is this video so late? Well, first, let's roll the footage. Good morning, everyone, from Jamaica. Oh wow, that's nice. So I've been here since yesterday. I think we landed around 1. We spent like 2 hours trying to get through the health check line and then straight through customs. And then there was a 45-minute drive to our resort at the Grand Palladium. So not really much of a view, but I'll show you outside. There's no screen. It is hot. Very, very hot right now, but it's cold in the room, so I need this. Oh my goodness, and it's humid. It's very humid. So, first thing on the agenda today, since I slept through the gym session, is going to the pool and laying out. So, I will see you there. And that, my friends, is it. At this point, I'm praying that I even have a photo for the thumbnail for this video. First, let's talk about the process of actually traveling to Jamaica. Why was I even there? So my college friend was actually having a wedding there. We had obviously known about this trip since 2019 and had already begun, and some of us had finished making payments by the time you know what hit. Now, I personally had been going back and forth with even still going, but I decided to kind of wait it out. And about 2 weeks before we were supposed to board our flights, we found out that the wedding would actually be postponed until the same time next year. The thing was, the bride and some of her wedding party would still go this year. So I had to make a choice: forfeit this year and just go next year, or just get it out of the way now and forfeit the trip next year. Now, I'm not one to go 2 places twice, so this was a big deal for me. I decided that because we don't know what travel is going to look like next year, I might as well get it out of the way. This would be my seemingly only trip this year. I don't know. We're still in the midst of it, but so far, this has been my only trip, and I decided to still go and try to enjoy myself. Who did I fly with? I flew with American Airlines going and returning. And this was actually my second time this year flying with American. Now, the first time I flew with them back in May, all of the solo travelers were called to the desk to switch their seats so that they would have a seat, an empty seat, in between them and another solo traveler flying. People who were flying together and families, they would all sit in a row together. That makes sense. But this time, we didn't get that opportunity. I had layovers, both going and coming, and layovers just seem to be the new black, essentially, because these airlines are trying to fill up their flights. So they're going to stop somewhere, pick up some more people to try and fill the plane, and then get to the destination that you're trying to go to. So if I'm remembering correctly, my flight to my initial layover, I had an aisle seat. Then my flight actually into Montego Bay, I had an aisle seat. Either way, on every flight, I was sitting next to somebody. I actually don't think it was to my flight coming home that I got to scoot over and we had an empty seat in between me and the other person in the row. Did I have to take a test? No, and I still haven't taken one of those tests till this day, even if I wanted to. At the time of my departure, it was only required of certain states to take a test. So people coming from New York, Texas, Florida, places like that. And the person I was actually sharing a room with was coming from New York City. So she had to scramble last minute to find a test that would give her her results within the 72 hours that was required. And that's kind of next to impossible nowadays. Luckily, I believe someone promised her her results within 5 days, and thankfully they showed up the day before she needed them. I was stressed for her. At one point, we were even considering backing out of the trip. It took us 2 hours to get out of that airport, and a lot of that time was spent just standing behind passengers from, I think, 2 to 3 other planes who had landed before us. We were all waiting for our health screening, which consisted of someone, a medical professional, I assume, asking us questions that we had already answered on this electronic form that we had to fill out. I also want to point out, because this is important and I still cannot believe this, I didn't witness a single person being given a test. Nobody was pulled aside, out of line. Hey, let me talk to you in this room over here. Like, nobody was given a test. And that was kind of a myth we had heard, or something that was happening up until before August 16th when we landed. But we heard about random testing being done. I'm just saying, with my own 2 eyeballs, I didn't see that happening. You may have also heard of an app that you have to download upon landing. Now, we didn't get asked that we had that app, and we all had it on our phones, but we didn't have anyone check to see if we had it. We had no, as far as I know, government tracking. We got no random calls throughout the day saying, hey, want to make sure you're still at your resort. Now, maybe this app is mostly for people using Airbnbs or staying with families or not Jamaican citizens and nationals, but they have homes there. So that's what, I don't know. But I just know that this app was not a thing to be utilized for my party. It was also at the airport that I overheard someone next to us in disbelief that they couldn't leave their hotel grounds. Now, this is something that I assumed, and I had no plans of leaving, but you should be prepared for this. No, you can't go anywhere, or at least you're not supposed to. Now, at this time, there were 4 government-approved activities, such as ATVing, there was a catamaran, booze cruise type of situation, and 2 other things that you could do that were government-approved activities for tourists. So you could leave your resorts to go do that. These were paid tours. But other than that, if you think that you're going to ride around, going to different restaurants and shops, going to stock up on liquor, I don't know, maybe you can do that, but I wouldn't have tested it. What precautions were taken at our resort? Now, apart from having hand sanitizer stations once you enter any restaurant, I believe, and there was security standing outside at some points to even check that you sanitized before you walked into an establishment. Now, in addition to that, all employees were required to wear masks at all times, and guests were supposed to as well when indoors, but there was the occasional time where, I would see a group or 2 people walking down the hall and they didn't have on masks. Also, this obviously doesn't apply to when you're in a restaurant eating, or when we were out on the beach and there would be little stands where you could get food from, or at the bars. Now, while I was standing at the bar in groups of people and people were a little too close to me, yes, I did have my mask on. I don't care that it's outdoors. I was not playing, but I don't think it was required. So a lot of people didn't have their masks on in that setting. And I do have to point out that all of the staff wore branded cloth masks, which seemed really thick, but they were extremely ill-fitting. So while I was grateful to the man making my jerk chicken, standing in the sun for hours, just cooking up for dozens and dozens, if not hundreds and hundreds of people, I was always hoping that man would stop talking, because his mask would be like down here, and not really into that. But as far as I know, I didn't bring anything home, so we're good. So now it's time for me to explain my lack of footage, and it wasn't necessarily due to the humidity wreaking havoc on my lens, which I didn't even realize until after. So day 1, we arrive at the resort, we settle in, I catch up with my friends, we get some drinks, spend the night chilling by the adult-only pool. Now, for the first time ever, I believe that I use my day 1 traveling anywhere to just settle in and relax, because usually I'm not on a resort. That is very rare, so I spend time walking around the city and seeing what's up. Day 2, you saw the footage I had. We ate, we drank, I chilled with my friends, which I guess you didn't really see in that footage, but that's what happened that day. And this is the day that it gets interesting because there was a beach party at night. And if you know me personally, I'm not a party person. I rather fill my days with activities and fun things or things that I deem fun. And then by a certain time of night, I'm in bed. I don't want to go out with you and dance all night. That's just me. But because I hadn't seen my friends in such a long time, I actually was in the mood to go out, hang out with them. I was going to do my little Irish goodbye and dip off at some point throughout the night, but I actually stayed at the beach party the entire time with them, and we ended up going to eat afterwards. But it was at this beach party where I decided to have a good time that I said, you know what? Let me have an even better time. Let me try my first ever gummy bear edible. Just one. When in Jamaica, right? Wrong. So very wrong. The rest of the night was non-stop laughter, stuffing my face with deep fried mediocre foods. I mean, just having the craziest, most fun time probably of the entire trip. But the next day, your girl didn't drag herself out of bed until about 1 p.m. And that was because I'm laying there thinking, Monique, you have to get up and put something in your body. Like, you have to get out of this bed. I needed sustenance, okay? For the rest of the day, I walked around like a freaking zombie trying to figure out why nobody else was having the same effect that I was. This experience affected me for the next couple days to the point where by the time I got back to the airport in the lounge where I should have been indulging on all the free liquor, I had to tell the guy like, no thank you. I'm just gonna have some water and this fruit right here. But because I wasn't feeling the absolute best, like my energy was just kind of low, I decided to just spend my last couple days relaxing, which is something that I needed anyway. After the year that we've all had, the year that I've had, I just wanted to relax. I didn't want to carry a camera to the beach, into the pool, and wonder, is it going to get wet? Is it going to get sand in it? Is somebody going to steal it because I have to carry my purse to put my camera in? So instead, I spent hours in the clear blue ocean until my fingers pruned. Like, we all did this. We just sat in the water talking until our fingers and toes went pruny. We played DJ and just played music really loud at the adult-only pool that we seemed to have taken over, and it was really small, so we weren't being annoying. It was basically just us there. And we just floated around in the water, laughing and having fun. Which, by the way, more adult-only things, please. More of those. So I guess that's it. That's why there's little to no footage and I just gave up trying to film at a certain point because I just wanted to relax and enjoy myself and catch up with my friends, which I don't get to do that often. I'm a solo traveler. I'm in other countries on other continents for months at a time. You never really see me with my friends, and it's not because in these videos I'm hiding them or they don't want to be on camera. It's because they're not there. It's always just me. So I felt like, especially during these times, I deserve the chance to sneak off to Jamaica and potentially post about it months later. And I hope you get this chance too. And by the way, I hope you're all doing well, have safe travels, and vote.